All right, boys. Hope everyone had a good week. I feel like I monopolized the dad wins and fails last week. So maybe tell me about some of the wins or fails that you've had.
Well, I'll start. I'm wearing my Mr. Rogers
It's a nice
suit
piece.
coat today. The
Yeah.
one, Mr. Rogers.
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
feeling old today. My son yesterday, he turned 7. My oldest turned
Wow.
17. So
Man.
I've got a 17-year-old, and it was our realization that this is his last birthday, assuming he goes to college, which is the plan.
Yeah.
He's already applied to a few colleges. But this is like his real last birthday, because next year he'll have one more birthday in the house, but he'll have already started planning
Yeah.
like the true college exodus. So, and once your kid goes to college, they might come back and live with you, but they're kind of like, it's never the same, right?
You're
So,
right. Yep.
a couple of his little siblings started getting sad last
Aw.
night because of it. But anyway, big dad win. We made 1 to 17. We're almost
Nice.
to 18
Good.
with the first one.
Nice.
Do you
man.
need us to sabotage his college applications? Is that what you're saying? Is that like a nudge?
And
nudge?
my wife might want that.
Blink
absolutely.
once for yes and twice for no.
What do they do that thing when you're getting abducted with your hands?
What about you?
It's been chaos at our house. We have, I got 4 girls. Our 2-year-old started potty training, so you got to watch your step everywhere you go. And then we also have been moving kids around their rooms. So we have our 2 oldest were in one room. We moved them to another room. And then we're trying to get our 2 youngest in a room. And then, of course, after we're like, yeah, we can move them. And then my wife's like, maybe we should let them pick a paint color. So then that started a whole thing. I'm like, so yeah, last week I was covered in cotton candy and lilac or inspired lilac paint colors.
That's my favorite,
Pink,
yeah.
go to
Yeah.
girl dad, right? So yeah, and then of course you're moving beds. So you're like taking down beds and constantly moving. Like we have like loft beds and stuff, and so it felt like we were moving.
And one of the worst things is almost every single bed has you turning the Allen key like 1/8 of an inch
The
of
Allen
a
key's
revolution,
amazing, isn't it?
You're like, who thought of this?
I always amazed. I'm like, this is the tool you get to build
exactly.
the entire I have always had the same thought. Like, there's a
Moronic.
power tool around this, but yeah. So and just a funny story. But this morning, my littlest just came walking down the hallway. Everyone all started eating breakfast, and my wife's like, she woke up dry, so maybe she has to go potty, but and so I'm like, ask her, I'm like, you gotta go potty? She's like, no. She's like, no.
Dad.
So I'm like, okay. So I put her in a high chair. Within a minute, dude, there's this
No.
puddle underneath
A
her high
waterfall.
chair. And I'm just like, what'd you do? I go, did you pee? She goes, no. And she just eating cereal, just like looking at me. I'm like, all right.
That's on you.
This is gonna be fun.
Honestly,
Yeah,
that's on you. That's not her
yeah,
fault. That's
yeah.
your fault.
So
Nice. Well, look, let's get into today's topic. With the weather being so bad where we are, and with it being
so
Masters Week as well,
Yeah.
and then in the kickoff to Augusta, it kind of feels like the natural spring awakening. So we figured we'd kind of talk through golf, the bond between dads and golf. And today's kickoff question is: describe your love affair with golf. I don't know if anyone wants to go first. I'm happy to go first.
Go
Yeah.
take it away, man.
Look, not to be like a one-upper or anything, and a quick 30-second side pivot. I love writing. Okay. I don't know if you guys have picked up on this. I just love writing, reading words in general. And so when my wife and I were in that dating phase, I used to write a lot. And also at the age of 8, humble brag, I was a published poet in the UK.
come on.
8 years old.
Did not know this.
So,
Naveed,
no big
about
deal.
you.
So I looked at the question, I went, describe your love affair with golf. And I went, you know what? I'm going to write something down.
Oh, baby.
Wow. All
So
right.
sit back, boys.
Hickory
I
dickory
wrote. Let's cut that one out again.
I was going to ask if you need a little music played behind this.
Well, I'll
Let's-
read
let's
it and you figure out if
Okay.
there's any
All right,
music
sounds
that
good.
needs. My love affair with golf reads like a slow burn romance, the kind that unfolds beneath golden sunrises and lingers long after twilight. It started innocently, a curious glance at the driving range, a tentative first swing, but soon I was hooked. Captivated by the allure of wide fairways and the mystery of undulating greens, and the quiet intimacy of early morning rounds. Golf wooed me with its elegance and humbled me with its cruelty. Yet I kept coming back, heart wide open, yearning for that one perfect moment when everything falls into place. Each swing is a heartbeat, each hole a chapter in our story. Sometimes wild, sometimes tender, always unforgettable. It's a romance that tests my patience, ignites my spirit, and reminds me that the most enduring loves are the ones that never stop revealing their secrets. I mean,
Dude, that was.
I'm just saying. Good luck following that.
Yeah.
Can I just copy and paste that and put my wife's name in there?
You got a soliloquy, Andrew, you can share with us? That was amazing, man. That was
Listen,
really. That was deep.
that was
That was good.
That was
there you
deep.
go. There
Yeah.
you go. So
You said the words that my heart has felt, Naveed.
So, yeah, it's funny because when you what was the line about the sunrise or the horizon or something like that?
What was that?
you're gonna have to the kind that unfolds beneath golden sunrises.
Yes.
Golden
Okay.
sunrises,
Yeah. No, you're painting a picture, man.
Listen, like I said, I published poet, age 8 years old.
That's
Big deal.
Great.
No
I
big
mean,
deal.
the beauty of golf is that, like, I didn't grow up playing golf. I grew up in a household that,
Yeah.
like, golf was something rich people do.
Yep.
It's kind of just a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
So I did not grow up playing golf, but the idea, like, you think of golf as this more of a sport, which it is, but until you play it or until you've experienced it, you don't realize that there's all these other like cool things that come with it. Like,
Right.
it is. It's usually just you, a couple buddies, and you're kind of just like, it's not walking through the woods, but it has that vibe where it's
Yeah.
like you're in nature, you're just kind of hanging out, fresh air, relaxing, unless you're smoking cigars.
Yeah.
Fresh air, relaxing, that sort of thing. It's addicting to be able to do
I always
that.
say
Yeah.
to my wife, golf feels like the closest thing that men have to therapy, because
Probably.
you walk around.
Unless it's therapy. But yes, I
Actual
get your
therapy.
point. Actual therapy.
Well, unless you play golf with your therapist.
Oh, there you go. 2 in 1.
2 in 1. But it's, you're walking around. It's fresh air. So there's the endorphins aspect of that. Studies have obviously shown that walking 10,000 steps a day does have its health
Yeah,
benefits.
absolutely.
And the craziest part is you'll finish playing after 4 or 5 hours, or the 3 of us are playing, and you come home and your wife will be like, well, what did you talk to Matt and Andrew about? And the answer is, I have no idea.
Right.
Like, you actually, after 5 hours, but we don't stop talking.
Sure.
But at the end of the 5
Did
hours...
you talk about this? You're like, no, it didn't come up. You're like, it's like the most basic.
No, but it'll be like, oh, well,
Are they married? I have no idea.
he said something about a divorce and something about, but literally you will
Yeah.
have no idea what you've spoken about for the most part, but it will be like the 5 hours will fly by and you'll have a great time. And the 5 hours will often feel like it wasn't enough time. But you said something about like not playing when you're growing up. Do you know what the chances are of you being a golfer? And a golfer is obviously a loose term, someone who plays golf, let's say. If you have one parent who played golf, you have a 25% chance of playing yourself.
Oh, wow.
If you have neither parent who played golf growing up, the likelihood of you playing is 0.4%. Super low.
Yeah.
Told you I was 1 in a million.
Yeah. Your swing, right?
Oh, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, that is
So,
nuts.
but it's exactly what you said. It's an expensive sport. So, how much do you think the average golfer spends on golf and equipment every year?
Every year?
Oh, man.
Every year.
Like the avid
I-
golfer? Are you talking like an avid golfer?
I can walk you through.
Are you talking like average or like someone who this is their life? I mean, I guess the problem is like because of the numbers he said before,
Yeah.
it's like such a concentrated group of people that like
Right.
if you're in, there's a good chance you're like all the way in.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I've got estimates on all.
What do you
of them,
got?
if you want to see them?
Yeah, what I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, a driver could be is a $600.
Yeah.
Oh,
at
they're
least,
so expensive
right?
now. Clubs have gotten crazy.
So, on average, 44% of golfers, and again, it's a spread, so it's an average. 44% of golfers spend between $500 to $1,000 annually on just equipment. So that could be
Okay.
balls,
Ball. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, balls, good
Clubs,
balls, are $3-4
balls.
bucks.
Yeah,
a piece.
exactly. 40% spend less than 500, which is probably the category most people are in. 13% spend between 1,000 and 2,000, and 2.7% spend more than 2,000 annually on equipment alone.
Yeah. I mean, I could buy those numbers. That seems about right.
Yeah.
But over a 40-year period, so this is factoring in green fees, equipment upgrades, golf travel. How much do you think the cumulative spend on golf is
For 40 years?
over 40 years? And I'll give you conservative, moderate, and high-end estimates.
I mean, $10,000 a year, let's say. So
Right. And it depends where you live in the country. You can play cheap golf here, but you go other places and
Yeah, you
Yeah.
go down
one
south,
round
you go to
is-
Florida. You're not a couple $100
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
You
Yeah.
played a nice place.
Yeah.
I have
So-
no idea, man.
So a conservative estimate, let's say you're just a public golf
Yeah.
player every now and then, and obviously, Ohio versus Florida versus California. I'm not gonna, go into too many specifics. But if you're if on the conservative end, at $2,000 annually, so that's green fees, equipment, travel, etc. Over 40 years, that's $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
At the moderate estimate, so $5,000 a year. So regular play, periodic upgrades, occasional travel, $200,000. Avid golfer. Now, Avid is more so private club membership, frequent equipment purchases, regular travel. The lifetime cost, $400,000.
Jeez, yeah.
And
makes sense.
that's equated at $10,000 annually. I don't think that's enough. Some of these clubs,
I would not say that's enough.
that's what I mean. So that's kind of like a semi-private club, something
Yeah.
that's kind of like in that 5 to 6 per year. But we've seen some of the clubs that are around here.
I was talking to a guy who spent $80,000 as initiation fee just recently in a club in Tennessee.
Yeah.
$80,000.
Yeah.
So I mean that blows that number out of the water.
Yeah,
because
but
you
then
figure
it's a
$80,000.
normalized run rate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just it's gotten crazy. And maybe if you took the previous 40 years, but I would say the last maybe 5 to 10 years, the cost is accelerated.
It's
dramatically.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So
But that's why I grew up in a low income. I hate saying low income, but whatever, a lower income house where there was you didn't golf. There was no way that you could figure out in your budget where you get $200,000 extra.
No, right.
That was your retirement.
Plus, you also you're from a big family. Mine was reasonably big by UK standards. We never played. My dad never played.
Yeah.
And then how do you then figure out getting your siblings and stuff in as well? What about you? Did you play growing up?
Different for me. My grandpa loved golf.
Yeah.
Every time we were over at his house, he had golf on. He would go find a tract of land somewhere off the road and just hit balls and go shag them himself and just bring them back. My dad played. So my brother played.
You're the 25%, man.
I know we did. We
get it. You grew up in a loving, rich family. We understand.
And I had high school friends that play, so it was I actually had a community of people that played. But it's funny because I've had 2 lives in golf, right? Because when you're young, I mean, I actually had I think I was in a summer league once when I was in middle school.
Oh, wow.
And my mom would just drop us off. And we would come back in 4 hours or whatever, and you'd get to play around. But so that those years though were always competitive. My family's competitive. My dad and brother really competitive. So I didn't really fall in love with it then. I always enjoyed playing for the reasons you guys had said. But then you're also it's the most frustrating game in the world, especially if you don't have coaching and you're not having people really show you how to get better. You're just maybe I'll play better today. And
Let me pick on that. What's your guys' golf personality? Are you a serious competitor?
That's what I say. Mine's
happy
changed.
to be outside.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
So I was saying mine's changed a lot.
Yeah.
So then it actually happened when I met my wife and my father-in-law, and he's a great golfer, but I started playing with him and some of his friends, and they just have a totally different approach to the game. They just love golf for the sake of great golf shots.
Yeah.
And they're just out there having fun, hitting golf shots. I'm this is great. And it almost rebirth that just love to be out there. Because I'm this isn't going to change my life if it's not my livelihood depends on this. I'm trying to just spend time with friends and have fun. And it is fun when you play a good round, man. You feel amazing, right? But then the opposite of that, if you can get out of those rounds, I always said if you want to listen to men's psychology, go to a golf course with a man and listen to how he talks to himself.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the Masters, you hear these guys hit a bad shot. They're like, "Oh, you're an idiot! How could you do it?" It's hilarious.
That's what I mean.
we
Therapy.
yell at
Therapy
ourselves.
for men.
Yeah. Maybe we can get deeper into that.
Not to steal your thunder, but golfing with his father-in-law DZ is such a fun experience because
I've been out with
you
him
had
as
to.
well,
That's
because
right.
he's always the teacher, right, where you hit a shot and I don't think he probably knows, maybe he doesn't know this, but he'll compliment you on a shot and you just feel
he's a hype
and
man.
you just feel
Yeah.
I'm going to Augusta tomorrow. I'm going to the PGA. I'm a pro.
Yeah.
Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's certain guys and I've tried to not take it seriously. The only catch is I've always loved playing sports, right? I loved being competitive growing up. I played everything I could. And now you're at an age where I could play basketball, but I can hurt myself. And I played maybe 6 years ago, I started this night men's league playing basketball again and played probably 15 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
and I hurt myself like so badly, so many weeks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
man.
why am I doing this?
Yeah.
So like it really limits what you can do. Like as you get older, it limits what you can do. And golf is one of those games where you can go out to and, barring, tweaking something, like it's a pretty safe game to play.
Absolutely.
But the competitive nature of it is like no one is ever so good that you can't compete with them. Like
Right.
you get to a certain point, and even if you're like a 15 or 20 handicap, you could like legitimately still go play around with Tiger Woods and not feel dumb, right? Like it'd be like, okay, I got to, swing the club 20 more times than he does or whatever. But it's not like it's it's impossible.
It's funny. I was reading something that said golf is one of the few sports, maybe the only sport, where you can hit a singular shot better than a pro. So you could be lined up at like a par 3 with Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
And he could be, a few feet to the hole, and you may just hit the shot of your life.
Yeah.
And it will be closer.
Yeah.
But you cannot just rock up and throw a baseball 96 miles an hour.
Sure.
Right.
You cannot just like roll up and take like a fast pitch out to like right field. You can't just like go in and just read a playbook in the NFL and be a running back.
No, 100%.
There's none of those sports that you can do that with other than golf. It's why it's so addictive.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is and I didn't realize this because so I only started playing like, I don't know, 3 years ago. And
Which you're very good for playing 3 years ago, by the way.
Thank you. I
Shocking,
appreciate it.
shockingly
Yeah.
good.
but the
Like sandbagging good.
Yeah. Like, I've been playing 3 years.
Yeah, I've only been playing 3 years.
Crushing
We
one
have
down.
we have little pictures of him writing poetry in the back of a golf cart at 8.
Sorry, I forgot to mention my 8-year-old poem is about golf. That's my 8-year-old
That's
poem.
your 8-year-old.
That's the one that was published.
But one of the reasons why it took me so many years to like really get into it is you'd be around a table like this and someone would be talking about their golf game.
Yeah.
And the way they talk about it, you would think they are awesome. And the real moment that clicked for me was I had a neighbor who in particular was always talking about it, always going on about how good he was. And we went out one time because I finally like caved. I finally was like, all right, he's been asking, I'm just going to go out. The first tee, he like hits it into the woods and he's like muttering to himself like how bad it was. And I was just like, sorry, I've been listening to this for 18 months, how good this guy is. And he's claiming to be a single-digit handicapper.
Oof,
and I was like, I don't even have a handicap at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do that on the first tee. And so that was like a complete mind switch in my head where it was like, and not you guys, but like most guys tend to like over-egg like their golf play. They'll speak about it so much that you'll think they are going to Augusta this week or whatever. So you can play with anyone at any time as long as you don't take it too seriously. My least favorite type of like golfer or personality, and I'm fine if you want to be serious about it, because like I think we're all competitive, is the guy that ruins it for everyone by complaining about like everyone else. So it's fine to be in your own space, in your own lane, and be like annoyed at your own game. But like I've played with people who like, are making you feel weird about like how long you're taking with a shot, or the fact that your ball's in the woods, or the fact that you're having to take a drop, or like,
right.
oh, is that an extra stroke because you hit it in the creek? I'm like, I don't know, dude. I barely know the etiquette here. Like I'm still learning to take my glove off like when we reach the green. But those guys are the ones that make it extremely, extremely awkward. What about dad guilt? Do you guys have dad guilt when you guys play?
Yeah, I think so. It's such a time commitment. That's the thing. It's not like you're running out, you're going to be back in 40 minutes. It's like you got to give. I mean, if you can play 9 and you're in a cart, sometimes you can cruise through right in under 2 hours. But if you're like going out for a day, you're gone for 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
Are you weekend golfers, you guys?
Rarely. Like I try to never golf on the weekends because, like you said, it's an entire time commitment. So most of my golf will happen during the week.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't, but it's very, very rare.
Do you guys like have like a routine around like prepping your guys for when you, or your wives, when you're gonna go play golf?
I personally don't, other than just like, you try to like downplay it. Like inside, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go play golf. This is gonna be so much fun. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. And you're like, listen, hon, I can't. Maddie's like, listen, he wants to go golfing. I don't know what to tell him.
Yeah. Looks like I gotta go.
Naveed needs to. I don't know. He wants to talk about something. So I guess we got to go golfing for 5 hours.
I told him I can only do 9, but he's really insisting.
He's really
on it,
pushing, and he said he wants cigars and steaks afterwards. So I'm just trying to be a good friend here. Support him.
Meanwhile, I'm telling the same story to my wife about you. Matt's telling the same story to his wife about me.
And then some random fourth.
And then they want to do a sleepover, and then they want to go to Arizona for 3 days.
Yeah, for 3 days.
But I guess we have to. Yeah.
My wife actually golfs too. Like,
Does
so
she really?
there's
I didn't know
times
that.
where it's rare when we can get like a golf date night, and it's
that's cool.
it's great. Yeah, because again, my father-in-law is a great golfer, so he showed her how to play too. But so she's usually like really cool about me golfing. She's like, she's usually always gives me the
You're not
green
getting
light.
like the house like ready.
Well, I feel like though that last hour before you go, you're making sure things are. You're doing anything you can to help out.
Sometimes there'll be like clues because you try and get like a temperature of the house like throughout the week.
Sure.
And like there's times when like your kids are really misbehaving. So you're like, well, now's not the time to let them know that Andrew really needs me. Matt really needs me.
Right. Yeah, if you said that at that moment, you're going to get the look like,
exactly. That's where it might be 9 holes. But then you're looking for that perfect like peak in the week where like the kids are so well behaved. You're both like on the couch. You're like watching the kids play. Like, I think the weather's meant to be really nice on Friday. I've got a really slow day. And I think Andrew maybe wants to play some golf. It's just...
I told you about this last week, right?
It's on my calendar.
Yeah, I know. I think I mentioned this. I should have mentioned this to you on Monday. I'm pretty sure I did. You said it was okay. And to do 18 with,
Or if it's a charity outing, at least it's a charity thing.
Yeah.
The charity
I was
one's
trying to
good.
help the children.
Actually, no, that's really, yeah. We should maybe create a charity between the three of us.
Just a
And
random
then every
charity.
week it's just like, every week.
There's so many golf
It's like
outings,
that
you know?
movie that's Ricky Stinicki.
Stinicki.
We just make up a fake
Yeah.
charity that we just always have to go to
could
these
do
charity
that.
events.
Well,
We're all on the board, and they just
we're all on
they
the board.
demand
we're
us
on
to
the
be
board,
there.
and it could help every religion out there.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're helping the Muslims today. We got that.
Golf helps all.
Exactly. What about your kids? Did any of your kids play?
Not yet. I actually really do want to get my kids, at least try to teach them how to play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, right now they're sub 10. We have one my daughter's about to turn 10. So that's probably an age where
That
we
feels
can
like a
get
good
out
age,
there and
yeah.
like start swinging a little bit. But I've heard actually it's best to teach kids golf like in reverse as far as the clubs. So like you start them out with putting.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you just get them really comfortable putting, and then you move on to chipping and wedges,
Yeah.
and then you move on to irons, and eventually.
Well, that's what they do at Augusta, right? That whole like pitch and putt thing.
Drive,
like
chip, and putt.
Drive,
Yeah.
chip, and putt.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. So I've got older kids. And I tried. So like we were part of a country club, and so like they have like those kids programs or whatever. So the top like I think 3 or 4 kids went through it, and they didn't really like it. Like
really?
they were just kind of like they were kind of indifferent to it. Because again, like I don't really talk about it when I'm at home. I just like literally like this year is when I started watching, or maybe the end of last year I started watching on TV. So they were never around it. I'm the type of guy like my clubs get thrown in the corner. I don't like. I'm not taking my irons out and practicing in the yard, that sort of thing. Typically. So it was never like around. But my oldest son, the one I just mentioned at the top of the episode, just like 2 weeks ago, was like. In a discussion, he just randomly drops, and Dad never takes me golfing. And I was just like, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah. If I could take my kids golfing, that would be the greatest thing on the planet.
Guilt.
No dad guilt. Like
it would be gone.
We would spend 8 hours a day at the course because we just go to the range, maybe grab some breakfast. Go.
Well, that would mean you'd be no longer part of our charity. So
But like I'm like why like so anyway I think there's interest brewing because like my 10-year-old he really wants to golf, and my 14-year-old daughter, her friend just started at their school, she joined the golf club, so she's thinking about joining their golf club. So I think it'll become more part of it. And but currently no, none of my kids are really into it, and we're not a force it on your kids type family. We're like if they want to do it, they want to do it. But
I feel like if you can get them into like a school program,
that's I think
eventually,
would be easiest. Yeah,
because then they're like forced to play, and not but like you have to
they're
play
committed
every week.
to play.
Yeah. And then at least you can get a feel for the game and then decide like. But again, I usually have to make those teams, so you got to.
For all the kids listening with their dads to this podcast, it's one of my biggest regrets is not playing earlier. Like that thing.
Did your dad play?
No, he didn't.
Okay, yeah.
He didn't. I just in general, right?
Yeah.
Like it's when you look at like those like memes around like how do you get good at golf? It's like pay for lessons, join a club, start 18 years earlier. Like it's that's literally it.
Literally,
like, it's time, and it's frustrating because it's like going to the gym. Like the initial gains that you see are so quick. So like in that 3-year period, you go from like I don't even know how to hit the ball to like I'll watch enough YouTube to know how to hit the ball. But then, like, you kind of hit that barrier where it's like, okay, well, I need to, like, really invest time, and I need to be hitting 100 balls a day, and just, like, life as a dad just doesn't allow for that.
Yeah, I would say every kid that we've had, it obviously gets harder and harder to like find time to like go play. And the amount of golf I've been able to play has definitely dropped, being a dad.
But what's crazy about golf is, like you mentioned, the first gains, which is true. But what's so super aggravating is, like, you'll go, and I think I've had one lesson in my life, and the guy was like, oh, you're bending your wrist too high at like the apex of your swing on your irons, right?
Yeah.
And he literally like just twisted my wrist one way, and it was like, well, that added 20 yards to my irons and straightened them out. It was like the dumbest thing ever. And you're like, so like to your point, like if you grew up with this idea of like, okay, I'm going to do this, and, or like, hey, I'm going to learn how to putt real good first, then pitch, then irons, whatever. If there was a rhythm to it. But as an adult, you're just like, all right, I'm just going to go to whatever public course I can and just start swinging and see what happens.
But it's also, but every dad, I think, does it the same way. Like, you go to a range and you should, in theory, be like practicing 100 yards and less. Get like your 56 out and start chipping.
It's all about
every
power,
dad.
babe.
Yeah.
How far can I drive it over the net?
Can I launch this bad boy?
And there's always a sign that says, don't hit it over the net. And you're like, oh, watch me hit it over this. Watch me hit it over this. Over this net.
There's such an ego play thing. That's so funny too, because you could know what the best shot is, but there's just something in you that's like, I'm just going to grab my driver. I'm going to try to hit it as far as I can. And the odds of that being right are so low. It's a humbling game, man.
What's your favorite, and etiquette's maybe like the wrong word, but like, it's almost like, what is your favorite thing on the golf course that it's like, it's nothing said, it's non-verbal. Like, what's your favorite, like, non-verbal on a golf course?
Oh man. My favorite non-verbal. I don't even know how to answer that. Give me.
I'll give you an example of mine. You're on the first tee, or you're on any tee, and you're playing with someone better than you, and you outdrive them. No one says anything, but you know. You're in the golf cart, and it's that like, is that your ball? Is that mine? But you know. And so it's like non-verbal to begin with, and then it kind of goes.
I don't know if I have any of those. Like, I genuinely can't think of anything that
I think when someone's breaking down, like losing it, and they're just crumbling, you just kind of you can't say anything. You just got to be, you're not there. You can't be like, can I help you with anything? Like, you get punched in the face.
My
you just got to let it go.
My least favorite verbal is when you play with someone good, and you hit a horrible tee shot. And someone's like, I think you'll get lucky. I think it bounced out. And you're like, no.
No, don't.
I think it's in Jumanji right now.
Don't patronize me. Like, are you kidding me?
Don't patronize me. That's exactly.
I get it. I know that I'm not
exactly
good.
Right. That's exactly.
I know that I just lost a $5 ball in the woods. You're not helping things.
Or when you're like around the greens and like you duff a chip, and you're like, well, I've just lost like another stroke there. And like, well, if you fix that, you'd be shooting sub 80. You're like,
no, Sherlock. Of course I would be.
I'm fighting for my life out here.
We just made it sound terrible. We just made it.
I know. We got to get back to the majestic.
We do.
The love.
Do you want me to read the poem again?
The eagles flying over the sunrise or whatever you say.
Yeah. The golden sun.
There's obviously going to be people that never have played golf. There's dads out there that are, because they look at it like, it costs money, it takes time, but like is just something about being in the woods with people for 4 hours, being out, like you guys have kind of already hit, that is alluring, man. And then when you get like some rare opportunities to play like really nice courses, maybe not in your local area.
Sure, yeah.
We played in Arizona last year, and it was literally a sun setting over the mountains, and these places are all so manicured and green and beautiful. You're just like, this is awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like, where else would you want to be?
Well, let's talk about some dad hacks then. So how can dads who don't play golf right now get into it without feeling overwhelmed? Because you and I are late bloomers with this game.
For
like,
sure.
How can dads like start playing without feeling overwhelmed?
I think you got to find somebody that you can play with that understands where you're at, and then they can kind of come along at least and like teach you the ropes.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you just go out there by yourself, you're going to have a hard time unless you're like really studious and you're watching tons of videos and you really want to learn. I think you can do it that way. But if you can find somebody that that plays, that's like patient and is going out there to have fun, you'll get it, right?
Yeah,
you'll go out there and be like, this was fun, versus like everyone's waiting for me to hit and I just shank,
I'd really look at it as like, what is your why? Because it is a huge time commitment.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is your reason for playing? Is it to have a hobby, to do whatever else? Because it's like, if you go, it's really hard to be like, hey, I go dirt biking on the weekends, and then I also golf.
Yeah.
And then I also
true.
play basketball on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
And then I also. But if it's like, hey, I want to get better because I can then go play with the boss, or I could go do this, or it's just something I want to do, or whatever it might be. I think you'd have to really identify the why, because at least in my household or in the relationships I have, it's like, I'm happy if my wife goes and does something, even if it costs time to the family, as long as there's like a real reason why.
Yeah.
To where even being like, oh, I just want to go hang out with some guys for 5 hours or whatever the thing is, it's like, that's a perfectly good reason why. The thing that I always am like, what I don't understand is when someone goes golfing and they get so angry while playing golf, it's like, what are you doing out here?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
We were at this country club. A friend invited me to this country club, and he was with another guy. The guy was just a moron this entire time. Like, it was literally like I drove on the first hole, and we were pulling up to the ball, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. It was like 17 holes of misery.
Yeah.
And the guy was just a total jerk the entire time. It was just like,
it's not fun.
and it's like no fun for everybody.
Right.
And I don't know why anybody would want to go that. So
Yeah.
I would really make sure, like, if you want to do it, it's your why. But I think golf in general, like, there's a lot of things you can do, even outside of golf, that have this sort of like, peace, like creates peace in you. So as long as golf is sort of like creating that peace in you, I think it's I would say that's what you should focus on first, because the rest of it, YouTube now, man, like there is so much content on YouTube
so much content.
that can get
Crazy.
you like, jacked or jazzed to play golf.
Yeah. I'd add one more thing to your thing, is that I also feel like you can straddle both the working world and the personal side with golf too. So it's, again, one of the few sports where, we spend most of our time talking to people.
Sure.
And you will often find that a lot of people in the same networks as us play as well. So why not combine the two? Mm-hmm. And then you're alleviating some of the dad guilt. You've also got like, the business aspect to it as well. And then there's no other sport out there where if you try to play pickup basketball and have like a business conversation with someone, never happen.
No.
Tennis,
No.
never happen. There's no other sport out there where you have these lulls in play and you're able to, bond over it, essentially. And again, I listened to someone who was selling their company, and he took out the guy who was thinking of buying his company for a round of golf. Mm-hmm. And he bizarrely used it as a test, because like every time he'd look over, the guy was like fluffing the lie, or like he was like moving the putts, or he was like, claiming that, or he was taking gimmies when they weren't really gimmies. And he ended up not selling to that guy, because he said, well, this guy's going to be buying my company and my workforce is now going to be working under him. And if this is him ethically, then that's someone I don't want to be working with as well. So there's so many different facets to it.
We had a vendor tell us that, I think their dad started the company, and the old practice was always take them out to the bars, take them out to wherever. Yeah. And then it's like, 3 hours in, nobody's, coherent, and you can't really talk business.
Don't remember what you're agreeing to.
Yeah, right. Nobody remembers anything. Yeah. So they like switch to the golf course, and like you get 4 hours with some. If you can get 4 hours of dedicated time with someone that
you'll know after 4 hours if that person is,
sure. So it can be a lot
story,
of
like one hole in, you already know like this person isn't someone that
that I want to hang out with.
That I want to do anything.
My father-in-law didn't start golf until he was in his 30s. Because the same reason for business. He's like, I have to learn to play because that's like, this is where business guys are hanging out, and these are, you know, so.
Well, let's pivot to listener corner. If you could play around with any golfer or celebrity, past, present, or fictional, who would it be and why? I don't know who wants to go first.
I thought about this one. So for me, I'd have to pick a comedian, because I'm not good. Like, I'd love to play with Tiger, one of these guys, but like, I'm not good enough to like really go out there and like shot for shot talk strategy with him, right? I'm just not. So I'm like,
but have you seen Tiger with like those Barstool guys?
He's great.
He's
awesome.
He's
obviously the guy is.
You can't say Paige Veronica either. No.
No. So I was thinking, okay, it's got to be comedians that golf, and I think that's a pretty short lift. But actually, Nate Bargatze, if you guys ever watch him, he's like a 4 handicap.
Oh, really? I had no idea he played golf.
Oh yeah, he golfs everywhere. He's like, and he's been in actually a couple of like pro-am stuff now that he's like kind of blown up. But I'm like, that would be fun because you're gonna go out there, have fun. He's better than me, but it's still like, you wouldn't feel this massive gap where like if I'm teeing off next to Rory McIlroy, like you're just crushing drives like 350. You're just like, all right, man, I shouldn't be out here. Can I carry your clubs? So, so anyway,
now, does this person have to golf with you and like have to enjoy it, or are they like, I want to?
That's the way I thought about it. It could be anybody.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's your question.
No, like I would look at it like if this person would want to golf with me, not like, oh, I won a charity event or something like that, right? Because that's no fun. But I think Michael Jordan would be so much fun to golf with because he's such an insane competitor.
Yeah.
I just feel Jordan.
I think he'd lose all your money.
Oh, just talking trash to Jordan for like 18 holes, even if you're not good, I think would be so much fun. Because he thought, first off, he's an incredible golfer.
Yeah. Right.
And you look at the guy and you're just like, from a competitor standpoint, from an accomplishment standpoint, the first billionaire athlete, the first a black billionaire athlete, whatever it is. Like it is like, well, his accomplishments are pretty cool. And to have 4.5 hours of undevoted attention basically for Jordan to be like, besides the cigars and booze he's drinking it'd be to me that'd be like a lot of fun. And I don't mean like like I could be like, oh, I want to golf with Jesus, but I'm talking about someone that like we know is a good golfer, that we know golfs or whatever. Yeah. So
MJ would be
that was the first thing that came to mind. Was MJ would be like fun.
I had two in my head, and MJ was one of them, right?
Okay.
But I'm not going to go with MJ, and I'm hoping this one doesn't get us cancelled.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Donald Trump.
I knew it. I was going to say,
here we go.
Those are the two I had in my head.
I'm going to say Donald Trump.
Jordan.
At his course, is going to be one of his courses?
It doesn't matter. And this isn't obviously, like, don't read into it as like political or anything like that. I just think playing golf with the current sitting US president that is so polarizing would be a pretty interesting 5 hours.
Round.
Oh, it'd be
just to see what's going on. And there's obviously allegations that he cheats playing golf. So I'd like to kind of see what's going on there.
The glasses.
What's going on there. And obviously he has like the whole Secret Service and everything with him as well. But I think just given his place in the current, socioeconomic standing, it would be very interesting.
Yeah. No, definitely. DJT was the. I was thinking of him too. Like, I don't know. He seems like he'd be like. He talked the whole time.
Yeah.
Like telling how great everything was.
Yeah.
And after
I think he'd be talking smack a lot as well. Not to you, but about like other people.
Possibly. But like like have you guys ever seen Shane Gillis his impressions of Donald Trump?
Oh, they're hilarious.
So the problem is like I would not be able to take anything he says seriously. Right. It would just be it would look like Shane Gillis impersonating him.
I wonder how
time.
much of it is like
of course,
right?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that actually knows him doesn't feel that.
Yeah,
but
before his political career, everyone's like he's the most charismatic guy. He walks into the room like he's everyone's.
That's what I
mean.
It's like and the problem, unfortunately, like he's a reality TV star prior to becoming president, so he knows how to play this like social whatever character. So that's why I think like when you play golf with someone, you get to know them a little bit more because you can turn up like whether it's you're playing with your friends or whatever, and you can come up with like a guard or like a personality. But 5 hours is a long time to spend with someone to not.
So
that's good.
There you go.
That's good.
It'd be fun.
All right. Well, look. Let's close this out. Let's move to dad interests for the week. What have we guys got?
I'm going to go with another comedian, actually, that we listen to, and she's hilarious, man. Her name's Leanne Morgan, and she's been doing comedy a long time, so she has, like, grown kids, but her comedy is all about, like, her family and raising these kids, and it's all clean comedy, and she is hilarious. I mean, I would say put it on, watch, like, there's a couple different, like, 10 to 13-minute clips, like, on YouTube. Put it on with your wife, and you guys will be dying.
Cool.
Yeah. It's really
interesting.
Funny.
So I don't have an interest. I more have like a gripe. This is like a dad gripe, right?
Oh boy.
There is no like fun way to buy a car. Like just in general, like it does not matter who you try to buy it from, what type of car you're buying. But like as a dad, especially a dad of a lot of kids, so like our car range gets limited, right, in terms of the type of cars you can buy. And you look at budget and everything. It's like it is not fun. Like the thing, I don't understand why there is not an environment or there's not a scenario where it's like you could actually make car buying fun. Because it's just never fun. Maybe it's just a personal thing for me. But we're in the process of going through like, okay, we need another vehicle, And it's like, why can't this be like an easy, fun, enjoyable
yeah.
scenario? Because it's always just like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels like you're getting kicked in the nuts just constantly, like going through the whole process, and you find the car you like, the deal doesn't work, and it's like, why are we even doing this? So that's my dad interest is anybody out there who's got a good car buying experience.
Was super negative. Boy. Wow. Actually, this is going to be a good pivot. My dad interest might help you out.
Okay.
So I started this book. It got recommended to me. I'm about 25% of the way through. And I'm always hesitant to give recommendations about books or shows that I haven't finished because, whatever. But it's called the Let Them Theory.
Oh, I thought you were going to say how to buy a car for dummies.
I was like, no, it's the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Have you heard about this?
I have no idea.
Have you heard about this?
No
Nope.
idea.
So she wrote this book, and she prefaces like a very specific experience that she had, I think, with her 16-year-old around like prom time. And it talks about stuff that we've spoken about, more around like parents who feel like they need to control every aspect, not just of like your kids' lives, but like your own life or whatever. And it's like the let them, let me theory, which is like the, if in this situation around like car buying or whatever else, it's like, all right, well, let them. And then the next part of it is the let me, which is like, well, what are my options? And it's more so to get you out of like this paralysis or like this like never ending circle of like, if something bad happens or if something doesn't go your way or if you feel hurt by something or if ... It's you kind of get stuck in this like revolving circle of like overthinking the scenario.
Yeah.
So the thought process being is like, all right, well, whatever, like let them or let that person or let that situation or whatever. Now let me, meaning like, well, what can I do to kind of take over? And it's like kind of in that same vein of like most of these like books written about like these types of topics, but it's just like a really interesting way of like framing things as well. And it also talks about like, the author's experience with her, stories, kids, etc. So yeah, worth a read. I started it, and so far so good.
Cool, man.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, look, hopefully you remember the email address this week, Matt. So take us away.
Thanks, guys, for listening this week. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to answer questions. We're trying to build an online community here of like-minded dads, and we want you to be part of it. So like and subscribe. Leave us comments. Send us an email if you want, Naveed, at theboardroom@chiefdadofficers.com. See? Boom.
I was ready to step
Steel
in.
trap.
Steel
right there.
trap, man. But yeah, so we'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.